And Jim, you had quite a bit to do with Dino when you were a young fella, didn't you?
Mate, I did. Mate, Dino was my head coach. He was the guy that brought me through to be the man that I am now, sat in the store cupboard at home. I hate my life. Beck, I'm leaving you. No, she might think I will because I can do what I want. I can't really. She's the boss.
I love the way you whisper it, Jim. You whisper it.
I know. Well, wait till she hears the next segment, the social media one, Peelback. She's going to be like, what have you just said? Anyway, yeah, so Dino was both mine and Goodey's head coach, actually. But for me, if anyone talks about influences in your career, there's a few. I had Tom Smith, who was in the academy at Leicester, who was one. And Dino was another one for me, as well as Dusty Hare and Cockers and stuff like that I mentioned before. But for me, Dino, I loved him. I had loads of respect for him as a coach. And for whatever reason, he liked me. So when he sent me to South Africa, and I think I spoke about that story last week where I had a fight with my best mate Deeks when we were out there, and I took one of the Deacon bombs and didn't flinch, that Dino liked me for some reason. So when I came back from South Africa, I got a job offer, another club. Rugby Lions, the mighty Rugby Lions had come in for me and they'd offered me an upgrade. So at that time, I was on $2,500 a year from Leicester and I was an apprentice. So I worked in a stats company. I also worked at a building site at David Wilson Homes doing the, I was a labourer at first, but then I was doing the ceilings. Like I'd put my head, so I'd stand on these kind of planks with my head on top of underneath the plasterboard, I'd drill up onto the roof. So I had a really good job at David Wilson Homes. Then I go to Leicester, $2,500 a year. Anyway, so I was going to go to Rugby Lions, got offered a big deal there to go. I think it was $10,000 a year plus a car, and it was a Ford Escort and a flat. So I'm off. I've gone into the office, said, Dino, just to let you know, mate, I'm off. I'm leaving. He's like, well, where are you going? We've just sent you to South Africa, and where do you think you're going? I said, oh, mate, I've just been offered a really big deal at Rugby Lions, $10,000 a year. They've offered me a Ford Escort and a flat. He's like, you ain't fucking going anywhere. He's like, you're staying at Leicester. We're going to do you a new deal. It's going to be a big deal, and you've earned it. I was like, all right, what is it? So I got offered $7,500 a year, and I stayed. Now, in 2003, I got my opportunity. All the lads are away. You know, we were all competing. We were all vying for the top spot at Leicester. Martin Johnson, Ben Kay, Lewis Deacon at the time. But it was my time. I was in. And because of my leadership credentials for the A team, Dino's fast-tracked me into the first team. Basically, there was no one left to play, so I played. Now, one of the first games was Leeds away, right? And because I was known as a bit of an enforcer, as we know, self-proclaimed, Dino's like, mate, I want you physical in this game. I don't want anything else. I don't want you offloading and doing all the things that you always normally do. I want you being physical, right? I was like, Dino, got you. He said, the first time someone's over the ball, you give them a proper shoeing, right? I was like, Dino, amen to that. So, Carl Hogg, who then went on to be my Gloucester coach, is over ball wearing number 7. I've gone two-footed into the breakdown in my Gilberts. I had a deal off Gilbert, actually. They paid me £500 a year, so big name drop to them.
Eight grand in total, then.
So I've gone double-footed into this breakdown. I've only clipped him, Carl Hogg in the head. Dave Pearce is referee at the time. No bones about it. Then Hoggy, as I'm speaking to Dave Pearce, goes on the floor like someone screamed grenade. Next thing, Dave Pearce has sent me off, right? So I've got a red card in one of my first games for Leicester. And feel quite proud of myself. We lost, but mate, I've just been sent off playing for Leicester. I've got my Gilbert boots on. I thought I was hard as nails. So disciplinary comes round. I get sent off by Dave Pearce. Disciplinary comes round quite quick. Now, I wasn't the best dressed at that point. Didn't have much money, but I had these shoes that I bought from High and Mighty. It was called Fat and Skinny. This shop called Fat and Skinny, and they were size 15, and they were leather soled, and they were like snakeskin at the top, like these snakeskin style shoes. They're the only shoes that I had. So I've rocked up in my Leicester suit with my snakeskin shoes on into the car park. I've got my Ford Astra that I've just rocked up in, got out, and I'm going down to Twickenham for the disciplinary with Dino. I get out the car. It's like a scene out of a cowboy movie. Get my feet out. Dino looks at me and he said, are you taking the fucking piss? And I'm looking at him, Dino, like, what you on about, mate? He said, are you taking the piss? I'm like, Dino, what you on about? He's like, are you taking the fucking piss out of me? In the car park in front of everyone. I'm thinking, mate, I can't afford, I've got a Ford Astra. Sorry, I've got a Vauxhall Astra. Mate, I can't afford anything. I had no idea what he was talking about.
I thought it was an Escort.
No, I had a Ford Escort from Rugby Lions. That's what they offered me. So I'm like, what's the problem here? He said, sit on your ass now. And I'm like, what are you on about? He said, sit on the floor. I'm like, Dino, what you got? Set. So when Dino tells you to do something once, you normally do it. The third time I've done it, I've sat on the floor. Next thing, I've rolled back into like like you do the turtle roll. And I've put my feet in the air, and he's ripped off my shoes and flung them over the wall. He said, "You're taking the fucking piss. What the fuck?" And he's going ballistic. I'm like, Dino, I'm sorry. They're the only shoes I've got. And I had to go down to Twickenham in his car. Let's say it was a Range Rover. In my suit, didn't say a word to me. In my socks. I've had to walk into the disciplinary in just my socks. They're piss wet through. And I got an 8-week ban. I got a 12-week, but it got taken down to 8 because I didn't have my shoes on. So they felt sorry for me.
The mitigating circumstances were you've got no shoes, so we need to get you back on the field as quickly as possible. So we'll take 4 weeks off so you can earn some money to get some more shoes.
Exactly. So cheers for
Wise.
that, Dino.
Dino was wise.
He was, mate. He was. I did enjoy his company. So thanks for that, Dino. You made me the man that I am today, and now I'm wearing Daddy's walking boot and scootin'.
He did the same for me, actually, making me the man I am as well today. And I go back to my Newcastle days with Dino. So obviously he signed me, and I don't like to talk about it, but I might have saved Newcastle from relegation. But the big thing was, flying me up and back to Newcastle every day from Heathrow. And the way it worked was Newcastle did their rugby training in the morning. So I'd land at 8 o'clock in the morning, get 7 o'clock flight, land about 8, get to the training ground for about, once I cleared customs and everything, about 8:30. Training started at 9, so I meet him. And then we'd train, we'd have a team meeting at 9, train to go on in the morning, then there'd be lunch. And in the afternoons, it'd be S&C, so fitness or weights or top-up conditioning, all this stuff. And I said to Dino, Dino, I can either get the 2 o'clock flight home or a 4:30 flight home. I said, if I promise to do some gym when I get home, can I get the 2 o'clock flight home? He just looks at me, he goes, Goody, I know every fucking excuse under the sun to not go to the gym the way I played. Look at me now. I said, yes, Dino. He says, if you're telling me that you're going to go home and go to the gym, you get on that 2 o'clock flight. But if you're fucking lying to me, you'll stay up here and you'll be doing it till 4:30. In fact, you'll be getting the 6:30 flight home because I'll make you do extra. I was like, Dino, give us a heart rate monitor. I'm telling you now, I'll go to the gym. And you can test it. I'll give it to the S&C staff. I'll go and do a bike session. Whatever you want me to do, you'll see it. First day I go back, take the heart rate monitor, strap it around the dog, take the dog for a walk. Off we go for about an hour walk, give it back to the S&C coach. He's like, how come your heart rate was so high? I'm like, yeah, I just thought I'd put it in because I want to get the 2 o'clock flight. Did it once, never did it again. Dino thought I was training every day of my life. And of course, I was getting the 2 o'clock flight home and I wasn't training, and I've now put on about 5 stone, so I blame Dino.